The South Florida chapter of the Society of Professional Journalists. For those who don't know what SPJ is, quick commercial, it's the largest journalism organization in the country, and it does everything from lobbying for a federal shield law to putting on great programs and conferences around the country to keeping an online job bank. By the way, dues are only $72, and I'd encourage you all to join if you want to see programs like tonight continue. Before we start tonight's program, we wanted to say a few words about an important person that SPJ lost this week. Mike McQueen was our chapter president from 1999 to 2000, and most of you probably knew him. He was an editor at the Herald, he was the head of the journalism program at FIU, and a night editor at the Sun Sentinel before leaving South Florida. His last post was bureau chief for AP in New Orleans, and Mike recruited many of us for the SPJ board, including myself. We've set up a scholarship in his memory, and if you'd like to donate to it, please visit our website, www.spjsoflaw.org. Now, onto the program. As newspapers around the country shrink, fold, and lay off reporters, those reporters are starting their own news operations. Some are print and some are online. The most successful one, which has been a model for many others, is the Voice of San Diego, which is turning a profit, but others have sprung up, including MintPost.com in Minneapolis and the St. Louis Beacon, Chi-Town Daily News, New Jersey Newsroom, and others, some in our own backyard. But just what does it take to start your own news operation? How do you get funding or grants? What's your business model? Are there any resources to turn to for help? We have a wonderful panel to explore these issues and hopefully give journalists interested in launching startups some good advice. And we had so many requests to take this program from all over the country, so we hired a film crew. So this will be on our website for viewing at some point. And did someone say YouTube? I don't know. Anyway, on to the panel. First is Dan Christensen. Let me find Dan's bio here. Dan's a former investigative reporter for the Herald and columnist for the Daily Business Review. He's one of South Florida's most experienced reporters with bachelor's and master's degrees in political science from the University of Miami. I'm going to shorten it just a little bit. In 2000 to 2001, his reporting about a deadly gun planting conspiracy and cover-up by Miami police led to the indictment of more than a dozen officers and significant governmental reform, including the establishment of a long-sought police review panel. Dan just launched his, today was the day his website launched. Congratulations, Broward Bulldog. I think he's looking for volunteers, but he'll talk more about it. Carol Gentry is next to him. She's founder and editor of Health News Florida. She has 3 decades of experience covering health, finance, and policy, with an emphasis on consumer education and protection. She covered health and medicine for several newspapers, including the St. Pete Times for 10 years, the Wall Street Journal for 3 years, in addition to being a member of the editorial board of the Orlando Sentinel in 2004 to 2005. She also served 2 years as a Peace Corps volunteer in Colombia. Welcome, Carol.
Thank you.
Next, we have, let's see, who's next? It's Gary, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, Gary, how do you pronounce your last name?
Keppel.
Mm-hmm. Joined the Knight Foundation in January 2006 as a journalism program officer and was promoted to director in March 2008. Keppel was news director at America Online, where he trained and directed the team that built AOL News into the world's largest online news site. Before that, he helped create USAtoday.com and Newsweek.com and was a homepage editor at WashingtonPost.com. His journalism career began in newspapers. Most recently, he worked on the website of Education Week, where he was in charge of content development, strategy, and planning. Welcome, Gary.
Thank you.
Next, sorry for this, is Jerry. Jerry Lauer.
Yep.
Has spent his entire 32-year career working at newspapers in Illinois, Texas, and Florida. He's held a variety of newsroom positions ranging from photographer to director of photography, page designer to art director, systems editor, technology training editor, production manager to publisher, and paperboy. In the 3 years he was director of photography at the Sun Sentinel, members of his staff were twice Pulitzer finalists. Lauer himself was a winner of the Robert F. Kennedy Journalism Award and dozens of other professional journalism citations. Welcome to you tonight. So I guess first we're going to have plenty of time for questions and answers at the end, but want to start out with Dan. What prompted your decision to start up your own publication? And tell us about your publication.
Well, I got laid off by the Miami Herald. Usually, you know, layoff is clears your head and makes you start thinking about stuff. And I actually started thinking about it the very day that I got notified that that was going to happen. And I realized, unfortunately, very quickly, that it was pretty much the only way I was going to be able to stay in the journalism business, become continue as a reporter and do the career that I, have always done and would always like to do until I retire. So, I mean, it was desperation, essentially. And that's it.
Carol?
Yeah, my beginning was real different. I actually was one of the few who left a paying job with benefits to do this. You can have me my mental health examined, but at any rate, I had the desire for years, as I saw the quality, the depth of my work. At the time, I was at the Tampa Tribune because I had come back to St. Pete because my daughter's there, my grandkids are there, and anyway, I had to do so many stories, I couldn't do any of them well, and I got so frustrated that I said, okay, this is a subject that requires more thought, more time, and more depth. If I'm going to cover it the way it has to be covered, I'm not going to be able to do it here, and there's nowhere else I can go anymore to do it right. And I'm not talking taking a month for a story, I'm talking about taking 4 hours. It was just that bad, and so so I set about for a year to plan it, and then I incorporated in December '06, and we launched in March '07 with a volunteer half-time editor. She wasn't a volunteer, she was a half-time editor. And I stayed in reporting for another almost a year before I was able to get enough foundation funding to leave and do it full-time.
Hey,
We're going to come back to you.
Yeah.
Jared, tell us about it.
Well, the Coastal Star came about as a result of multiple downsizings in my family. My wife, Mary Kate Fleming, over there by the camera tripod, had been an editor at the Palm Beach Post for over 20 years. They got smaller. I had held positions at the Sun Sentinel. I left there about 5 years ago. I helped start up a new publication 3.5 years ago called Florida Fishing Weekly. It went away. My wife and I were looking to stay in journalism, so we decided to start, of all things, a print publication in our own backyard. We've identified a small geographic niche that is the other dayways have retreated from. So they've created a terrific opportunity for us. And that's sort of where it came about.